Hey, yo.
Hey, yo.
So, I got a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you like my new Jeep?
Oh my god, yes. Dude, I saw that on TikTok and I was like, I hope Josh does that.
It's Jeep season, brother.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I had to take the doors off in order to get, like, to the fender. But,
Did you really?
yeah.
You need to cruise around without the doors for a bit.
You can see right there's my door.
Oh my goodness, man.
We should, like, drive around with it later when you get off.
Most definitely.
Okay. Alright, that's all I wanted to show you. I wanted to record to get your reaction.
Right. Dude, I can't wait. I will call you whenever I'm ready and I'll head your way.
Okay, see ya.
Alright, peace.
Alright, so as you saw by the first clip, today is the day that we put the carbon fenders on. Yeah, I had to take off my door because I didn't know exactly how to put them on. And it seems like there's a bolt right behind it that I have to get off somehow. So I took the door off. And I know I've seen it in another TikTok before with someone taking doors off saying it's Jeep season. And so I had to just share with Jeff and get his reaction about it. But yeah, we're gonna try to get that done today. From what it looks like, it shouldn't be that hard. But I say that about everything and it ends up taking like 3 hours to do it, so yeah. So right off the get, some of the few things we're gonna do immediately is taking off the front wheel. So then it'll give us access to some of the bolts through the fender lining. Pop the hood because there's a few bolts underneath the hood right there on top of the fender. And then we're gonna be taking off the door so then we can get some bolts along that side of the fender. It shouldn't be, from the other side, shouldn't be that hard. So like the door has 2 hinge points, in which case you only need like a 15mm to just basically completely take off the door. It's just 2 bolts for that, 1 bolt for that retractor arm and door, and then you just lift the door out. Almost like a Jeep, so it's really simple. Other than that, taking the wheel off, mainly to get access to some of the fasteners on the fender lining, because that was the problem on the other side. I did not take that wheel off, and so I was trying to like stick my arm up in there, try to get fasteners just to move stuff out of the way and make it easier. So well, me being the dummy I am, forgot to pop the hood as we were taking the door off. So, which case caused me to scratch the door a little bit. You can't really see it much in camera, but yeah. Now I gotta get some touch-up paint for that from the dealer. But I've been needing it for a bit now because there's been this big scratch here. And it's just been there for who knows how long. Now I gotta get some touch-up paint, but we got the door off, we got the wheel off. Now we just gotta undo the inner liner on this, which is taking these little fasteners out. Which on the other side, these were a pain. I ended up breaking like 3 out of the 4 of them. Undoing those, loosening up some of these screws in here. You can't really see it because of lighting, but like those, trying to loosen some of those up so then you can kind of bend this out of the way. Undoing some of the plastic up here with these fasteners and like lifting this out of the way. And then from there, You just pinch these things, those things. So there's 3 of them all the way down. You pinch that, that thing comes out. And then there's like a bolt here and a bolt below down here. But the best way I figured to get this one out is kind of like use a screwdriver and pry this side skirt thing to the side, so then you can get a wrench in there and just undo that bolt. Okay, so now that I got that plastic piece out, you can see the bolts I was talking about. So you got this one right here, which the head is on the back side of it, which on the other side you had the windshield washer fluid tank here. So I had to basically undo that section of it on the front and kind of like tilt the washer fluid thing out of the way to get to that bolt, which was a pain. But this one is also a pain. If you can see it right there, the head of it is on this back side, like right here. So I pry this out of the way to get a wrench in there. As I put it back together, some of the clips for some of the screws I was putting the opposite direction to make it easier if you ever came back through here and put the stock ones back on. So like this one I flipped around to the other side. This one I don't think I touched, I left that one as is. And then there's like one on the top side over there that I basically flipped the other way, so it makes it easier if you ever need to pull off the panels again. Okay, now that we got most of those fasteners on the way, this thing should just, look at that. And then now that gives you access to these top bolts. So one here and one here. But as you can see, this one's upside down for who knows what reason. But this one, I flipped this thing around, put it on the back side, and then the bolt looks like that, so it's on top. Makes it easier. Alright, so this is just a quick little update, but so far, I've gotten these 2 bolts out. I got the bolt out that was underneath right there, which that one is covered by seam sealer, so I tore the seam sealer off the bolt to get to it. I got this bolt out, and now I'm starting to work on the pain in the butt bolt. Basically what I do to get that one done is I take like a screwdriver or like, oh my gosh, my mind's going blank, clip puller, oh my god, the clip puller, put it in between the fender panel and the side skirt panel, kind of in there like that, and then I just kind of like pry it like that, in which case gives you a little bit of room, enough to get a basic wrench in there. So it's basically going to take you a while to get that one unscrewed, but that's the way I found to do it without taking the whole skirt thing off. To be fair, I don't know how to do that, and I don't want to try to attempt to do that, so that's the best way I found to do it. It takes a little bit, but you'll get to it. Okay, so now that you can see without the fender, basically that was the one that's a pain in the butt, and that's how little room you have. So it's just enough room for like one of these, just a normal wrench. If you had a ratchet wrench, it'd probably be way better. But then there's this one, which is right here, those 2, and then the one down here, which is covered in seam sealer on the bottom. But once we get the new fender mocked up and on it, basically we're gonna have to cut out most of this section here, basically 2 of these holes, and leave 2 of them. They're going on the other fender. So battery died, but I went and switched out. Didn't miss much, but I got the fender sort of bolted up. Those 2 bolts and then bolt down there. And then now I'm just going to use a highlighter to kind of mark down through here so I can see what I need to trim off the fender. Odds are, if you mark it with the highlighter like kind of along this edge, you will still need to trim a little past the highlighter point, but not by much. Because that's what I did on the other one and it seemed to work fairly well. So alright, so as you guys can see with the fender off and where I marked it, this is kind of like the outline that you kind of need to trim off. That's one way I figured out how to do it. I don't know if there's any other way, but that's the method that worked for me. So okay, so now that I got that kind of like rough cut out, I'm just gonna take this knife and kind of clean up some of the edges. And once I do that, I'm just gonna be taking like a little blowtorch to it, kind of like melt some of the plastic, so it's just nice and smooth from there. Yeah, after I mock that up, make sure everything's clear cut, all that, then I'll go through with the blowtorch, smooth out some of the rough edges, and then we'll be done. Okay, so everything's looking good. All the stuff I trimmed right the first time. So like this one, I had it marked up to here, but I trimmed it down like maybe ½ an inch more. So then it would clear kind of like this little lip here, which is the same on the other side, but now it clears. So I got that right the first time. It all clears all along the edge up in here and even up through here. So got it all right the first time. Now I just gotta go through and put bolts back in, and then I'll show you guys the locations and which orientation I put these things in. Okay, so some of the little clips that I turned around to face the opposite direction was like this one. So now the bolt head is going to be on top on the fender instead of below. And then the one that's here on this bracket, same deal. I put it on the fender itself, so then the bolt head is facing outward, not facing inward. So then you can just ratchet it from out here and not in here. And then the only other one that I'm going to do is this one that was a pain earlier. So this one, because the bolt was facing outward, kind of in the way because this thing's in the way, I'm gonna have it where the bolt head is facing inward, so then you can again get like a ratchet or something in there, easier to take off in the future. So it's just a lot of kind of like future proofing it in a way, making the bolts easier to get to, therefore easier to swap out fenders if I ever need to in the future. Alright, so got it all buttoned up and pretty much ready to go. Now I just gotta put the door on, put the little side panel back on, wheel on, put it down, and that's about it. Light, need light, there we go. Alright, so I'm gonna skip the rest of this because the rest of this you already saw at the beginning, where it's just basically putting panels back together. So that's probably gonna be the end of this video. I'm gonna have some new tires and new rims probably coming in soon, so there'll be a video about that. But they're gonna be specifically for track use, so I'm not gonna be using these anymore, like going down the drag strip and drawing them up. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, but I'll see you on the next one. Get under there, thank you. No thank you. Oh my god. That thing shot.